Hey everybody in the VC, it's Matt, and I took a day off of work, so I thought I would make a video. And this is an idea that I stole from another channel, basically. So this channel popped up on my YouTube page here a week or two ago, Listography, and it's a really great channel. Here is you can read my handwriting. That's the name of the channel, Listography. What it is, it's three guys, and they got a lot of content on their channel and good stuff. They will do, right now they're in a rank top 5 albums of each year. And of course, there's three guys, so you get three lists, and some things they agree on, some things they don't, as far as things in common in their list, and others times they'll have totally different lists, so it's a lot of fun. They started in 1965, and I think they're up to like 1983 or 4 right now. They will do artists. They've done Beatles, Pink Floyd, Neil Young, Bob Dylan, Rolling Stones, quite a few artists, The Clash, I believe, and they will rank their albums in their preference of least to best. And again, you get, each guy presents his own list, so it's fun. It's fun that they have the three guys on there because you get some give and take and some discussion about music and so forth. They'll also do, they did a video recently on the new album by the Psychedelic Furs, which is their first album in, I think, 29 years. I got it. It's a good album. So there'll be some music discussion, and they seems like they post something every 3 or 4 days. So way more prolific than I am on their channel. So Listography, they're worth checking out if you haven't heard of them. And so what they did here a week or two or so back was their favorite Beatle cover songs. That is, other people covering Beatles songs, and I think they did their top 10. So of course you got 30 choices. They did have some things in common between their list, but anyway, so I decided to do that, and I came up with my top 20 favorite other people covering the Beatles list, which if anyone has watched my channel probably heard me say more than once that I'm usually not a big fan of cover versions. I do love the Beatles when they did cover versions, but outside of that, few and far between on the ones I like. And I'm not going to go through all the explanation of why. They're just usually the original person's version is better than the cover. And anyway, and that's particularly true with Beatle covers. Most of them that I've heard are pretty just by the numbers, plain vanilla, and not really too much interesting to them. And I can't think of any where I prefer the cover to the Beatles version. There are a few that come close, and then they're on this list. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of covers on for the most part. But I did come up with 20 that I really like, and this is in no particular order. I do not have all these records, unfortunately, so this is going to be maybe not the most interesting video because I'm not going to have records to show. I do have some of them, and I probably should have pulled those out that I do, but I didn't. So you get the excitement of me reading off a list. So we will go, like I said, this is in no particular order, but my top 20 covers of Beatles songs by other singers and or bands. So like no particular order here, so I'm going to say the first one, but that doesn't mean it's number one. We Can Work It Out by Stevie Wonder, and that is one that may be one of my favorite ones. And that's just a very upbeat, it's got that Stevie Wonder patented sound to it. It's just joyful and soulful and upbeat, and that is one of them that does come pretty close to matching the Beatles version. I think I'd give the Beatles version an edge there, but Stevie Wonder's version, really great stuff. We Can Work It Out. And so, yeah, I think that is from like 1967 or 68. I didn't check the years on these, but I think that's one of his 60s 45s. The next one is Hey Jude by Wilson Pickett. Hey Jude is overplayed, and a lot of us are kind of tired of hearing it. But that said, it's still probably my second favorite song of all time by anybody, and the Beatles version is the version to go to. But Wilson Pickett is such a great singer, so soulful, and he just does a great version of it. And you get the added bonus of having Dwayne Allman on guitar and just adding some really tasty, great guitar toward the end of the song. And it's not as good as the Beatles version, but it's really close to. Next song I've got is A Hard Day's Night by Otis Redding. Otis is probably my favorite singer of all time. This is a tie with him and John Lennon and Sam Cooke. And with A Hard Day's Night, he just pile drives into it. He just chops it up like hamburger. He's just shouting, screaming, and carrying on, and just almost butchering the song, but having just a big old fun time with it. And it's just a manic, frenetic performance, and all over the place. And he's just sort of just going crazy and carrying on with it, and it's really good. I really love that. Just high octane energy cover of A Hard Day's Night. Otis shows up again with the next choice, which is Day Tripper. Same thing. He just does a really just high energy, soulful take on Day Tripper. Such a great song, and such a great performance. And just, yeah, Otis, one of the best ever. So the next one, most people probably never heard of this guy, Wee Willie Walker, doing Ticket to Ride. And that's why I held this up at the first of the video. This is old Gold Wax label, which was around in the 60s, I think into the 70s. Yeah, went out of business around 1970. But this was sort of like a Stax Motown type label, mainly soul music. There was a few kind of country or rock things that they put out, but 95% of it was soul music and just good stuff. So Ticket to Ride, kind of an obscure one, and that damn thing froze, and I'm not gonna start this video over again, so you're gonna have to look at that. But Wee Willie Walker with Ticket to Ride, check that out, it's on YouTube. My next one is I Want to Be Your Man by the Rolling Stones, which of course is a song the Beatles wrote for them, and the Beatles did it themselves too, giving it to Ringo. I prefer the Beatles version, but I do love the Stones version because it's more raw, it's more earthy, it's more just sort of raucous, and I think they do a really good version of it. So I do like that. And if you'll notice, that is the first pick by white singers, and something about the Beatles that black artists just do a much better job of covering them, in my opinion, than white singers do. I'm not sure why that is, but it just seems to work out like that. The next one is another soul singer, kind of obscure, Roy Redmond, R-E-D-M-O-N-D, doing Good Day Sunshine. Just a beautiful, sort of drawn out, soulful performance of Good Day Sunshine. Really good stuff. Look him up on YouTube, because that's worth hearing, even though he's not the best known singer out there. This guy's, everyone knows, James Brown, doing Something, which is just gives it that screaming, upbeat James Brown performance. George Harrison liked that version so much that he sent a letter to James saying, good job and so forth. But definitely, where there was a single, I want to say early 70s, but definitely worth checking out. Come Together by Ike and Tina Turner, your trademark Ike and Tina Turner sound, and just your raw, soulful take on Come Together, which suits a soul song, really. But Ike and Tina Turner doing that is really good. This next choice surprises me because it is Let It Be by Joan Baez. Surprises me because I have nothing against her, but I'm not into her music otherwise. What I've heard of her, just regular music, has never really did anything for me. she's, I'm sure she's, you know, great and all, but I heard that on the Beatles channel because they will play cover versions sometimes, and I just thought it was really nice. So she does a really good job with Let It Be. Next up is an interesting one, Nina Simone, one of the best singers of all time. Her take on Revolution, which that's one reason I'm not crazy about cover versions, because most times when people do them, they just do a straight ahead copy of the original song, and it's like, well, I'll just listen to the original song. There's no reason for me to be listening to you doing just a copy of it. So the few times that I like covers is when just you really got a great singer or performance, or with somebody goes and does something different with it, like Devo with Satisfaction. And here with Simone, it is Revolution, but it's also sort of different. She kind of answers the song and does a different take on it. And there's a good picture. Geez, this stupid computer. But something by Nina Simone. It's just revelatory and just a great performance. The next one, Ticket to Ride by Husker Du. I'm not sure if this was ever released on any of their albums, but they used to play it in concert, and it is on YouTube. I think it might have been on a 45 or something somewhere, but Husker Du, just a great punk band out of Minneapolis, and they were around in the 80s, and really good band. And this is just a really just thrashing, driving, million-mile-an-hour punk rock take on Ticket to Ride. Sounds really good. The guitars and all, the singing's okay. Not as good as the Beatles, but it's really cool. It's up there. Change of pace for the next one is, this is my favorite song of all time by anybody. It's Help by Bananarama, which is just a great, energetic, poppy performance of the song. It's really fun. It sounds good. And that's all of these are on YouTube if you want to check them out, if you don't already know them. So Help by Bananarama, that's a fun one. It doesn't hold a candle to the Beatles version, of course, but it's great. It's just a lot of fun. Next one, another one of the greatest singers of all time, Al Green, singing I Want to Hold Your Hand. It's just a happy, joyful version, and it's another one that comes, you know, not as good as the Beatles version, but it's pretty close to it. And I heard Al in a interview on NPR, I don't know, 10 years ago or so, and he was talking about how early in his career his manager got him to record a bunch of cover versions, and he was saying, you know, they had me singing things like I Want to Hold Your Hand and so forth. And the interview lady said, well, you know, it's a good song. And he said, well, it is a good song, but it's a good song for the Beatles, not for me. I would disagree with Al, because I think he does I think he does just a plus performance on it. I think it's just wonderful and joyful and just full of life and energy. And I think it's a great performance and great cover of the song. So love your singing, Al, but I got to disagree with you there. You did a great job on I Want to Hold Your Hand. He also does, it's not on the list, I think he does Get Back. I know he did one other Beatles song. Could be Come Together, but I think he did good Get Back, and that's a good version too. It's just not as good as his version of I Want to Hold Your Hand. Where are we there? The next one is Dear Prudence by the Jerry Garcia Band. Jerry Garcia, the Grateful Dead, of course, but he also had the Jerry Garcia Band for his solo album stuff. Just sort of a languid, drawn out. It's like 9 minutes long, and not boring though. It pulsates and has energy, and it's a good, sort of relaxing, drawn out version of Dear Prudence, which is a great song. The Beatles version, again, better, but this is a good one. Jerry Garcia Band. Here's another fun, upbeat one. You Can't Do That by the Supremes. Hey, it started working again. What do you know? Just you know, Supremes are great. Love their songs, love their singing, and they I think they did a whole album of the Supremes cover the Beatles. I'm almost 100% sure, and that's probably what that comes from. But You Can't Do That's one of my favorite Beatles songs of all time too, and they do a really fun, upbeat version of it. Pretty much ditto on the next one. Brenda Lee doing Can't Buy Me Love. Just I'm a sucker for girl group stuff, and she just does an exciting, fun version of it, and it's just really good. Does a really good job of it. Next one is another one of our soul singers, Betty Lavette. She does The Word, which is sort of a kind of a slower, drawn out, soulful version, more soulful version than the Beatles version. Really good job there. Hard Day's Night shows up again on the list, and this time by Peggy Lee. So kind of a adult contemporary for the time, for the early 60s. Of course, Peggy Lee with Fever, and she did Is That All There Is, I think, is a great song, and a lot of other good songs, but great singer Peggy Lee, and she does it's kind of a version that your parents might have liked back in the 60s, but it's good, and she does great on it. Hard Day's Night by Peggy Lee. And we complete the list with Not a Second Time by the Pretenders, Chrissie Hynde and the Pretenders. Of course, they did such a great job covering Stop Your Sobbin' by the Kinks on their first album. I think that was on the first album, maybe it was one of their early 45s, but pretty sure it's on the first album. Anyway, and here they do a great job on kind of a somewhat obscure Beatles song, Not a Second Time. Not as good as the Beatles, but still great. And you got that smoky, sexy, sultry Chrissie Hynde voice, which is never a bad thing to have around to listen to. So that is my 20 favorite other people covering the Beatles list, in no particular order, as I've said about 100 times already. One honorable mention, She Loves You by Funkadelic. Make it an honorable mention just because it is a little snippet that's tagged on to the end of the song Funk Gets Stronger. So it's at the very end of the song. There's about 10 15 seconds of them singing She Loves You, and they're having a blast. They're just goofing around and having fun. So it's not technically the greatest song maybe, but it's infectious and it's really fun. And I wish they would have done the entire song, covered it in that fashion, and just sort of cutting up and goofing off and having fun with it. And so Funkadelic, She Loves You gets a honorable mention, and that is it. So hope everyone's doing well. I finished off the solo Beatle releases, posted the last video of that, I don't know, a week or two ago with Milk and Honey. I had several other artists' discographies that I want to go through in order of release and review, and I was trying to think of what I wanted to do next. I came up with two: one a band, another a singer. Couldn't decide, so I used the scientific method, physics specifically. I flipped a coin, and so that decided who I'm doing next. Both of these entities have something in common. I'm not going to reveal who it is until I make the video, so you can sit on the edge of your seat in wonderment. But I will give you one very obscure clue, which I seriously would be just dead surprised if anyone got it. And that clue is bird, as in, birds. You look out in your front yard and they're flying around. That connects this artist and this band. So bird, see if you can figure that out. I think probably not, because it's really obscure, but I will be back with starting reviews of that band or that artist soon, I hope. Anyway, go to YouTube and check these covers of Beatles songs out. They're really cool. I enjoy them highly. And list down there what your favorite covers of Beatles songs by other people are too, because that'd be something to do.